So this is John Martinka, and I today am with my good friend Pete McDowell with RC Advisory Services, and Pete is an intermediary, and we have worked together on some things, and we have worked on the other side of the table on some things as we help our clients buy and sell companies, small, mid-sized, lower middle market firms. So Pete, thank you for joining me. Uh, Tell me what you're seeing in the market these days.
Well, thanks, John. What I'm seeing for us is healthy, but there's a qualifier on that, and I'll explain that in a second. Overall, though, what I hear from people that are in our world in the market is that deal flow is down, but it's starting to come back. On our end, what we've seen is a couple of new inquiries that look to be solid. And we've seen some deals that we had going stay alive. They kind of took a dip, but they've stayed alive. And then some other prospects that were in our pipeline have looked at the economic landscape and decided that they wanted to move forward anyway. So that's kind of what I see right at the moment. And again, I think other people are seeing a little bit of a slow rebound also.
Okay. If a seller comes to you, what makes that business attractive to today's buyers?
A couple things I can think of, I guess, right off the bat. Number one, how have they weathered the COVID scenario that we've all been in?
Yep.
Are they managing through it in a good way? You know, some companies are growing, and that's great, or staying where they were, and that's great. Others have dipped, but if they've done a good job of managing the dip, it shows a buyer that they've got processes and controls in place that allow them to still be profitable at a lower level. So that's what they're looking for. I think they're also looking for companies that have some unique capabilities in a space that they may already be in. So investment group or private equity group or another company in a similar space might be looking for an add-on business, and they think it's a good time to buy one. And then I think there's some other businesses out there that are better long-term plays for some buyers who want to not just maybe get something and turn it in 5 to 7 years, but they're willing to go to a 10 to 15 to 20-year horizon and really build a portfolio of companies. And they're willing to go take a look at a company that fits that model. So that's kind of what I see.
A platform, yeah. So as you look at potential businesses to sell, what are you avoiding? And is it by type or profitability? Is it an owner not wanting to face the real world that, hey, we're in the middle of a virus crisis? What else? Anything?
Yeah, well, we've never really gotten into the tech market, so to speak, so we avoid that anyway. In today's world, I think we would probably avoid companies that have really seen a significant drop in revenue and are starting to bleed. So we don't go there. And I think also any company that really doesn't have what I call special sauce or a unique value proposition in their market is not one we probably would want to take on because it's just another average company. And so those are the ones we would stay away from.
Okay. So flip it around to buyers, and what are buyers saying they want in a company these days?
They want to see a lot of the same things they've always seen. They want to see not a lot of dependency on an owner. They want to see less dependencies, of course, on customers and suppliers. So those haven't changed. They like to see a company that's well organized. So again, it's a flip from where we just were on the other question. A company that's well organized, has processes in place, has consistently produced financials month in, month out, and has a history of nice, steady growth. And so I think that those things haven't changed. And again, if you've got something that's unique right now that's allowed you to not only weather this COVID economic downturn we've got, but thrive in it, they will definitely go after a company that's thrived in it. Because I think people are thinking that this is not going to go away soon. And so if a company's been able to take advantage of things with their specific products or services in this environment and it's going to go on, it's a good play to go get into that market.
Okay. So buyers and sellers, small businesses, mid-size, lower middle market. It's the baby to a lot of owners, and relationships between buyer and seller are very important. How are you seeing that being affected by the virus? Is it slowing things down? Has it changed at all?
I don't think it's really changed at all. Ultimately, business is all about relationships anyway. And when you're selling your baby, um, you've got to feel good about the party that's buying your company, whether it's a investment group or an individual or a partnership. But you've got the sellers still want to sell it to the right people because they built their company and they care about their employees, and they'd rather do that than just sell it and walk away and just get some cash. That's still the general feeling that I get.
As it's Let me rephrase that. Are the sellers and buyers still wanting to get together in person, willing to?
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't seen anything, at least from a transmission of COVID aspect, that's gotten in the way of that. So we've been doing a number of buyer and seller meetings, including meetings at hotels away from offices or meetings at third party locations. And we've even done a couple of facility tours. So that doesn't seem to be a problem at all. And people do want to get together. And in
Yeah.
fact, we encourage it.
Okay. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. And actually, just to get it in there, I wrote the state a few months ago and got approved to have in-person meetings as an essential business, basically to keep jobs. Uh, have you seen much in the way of bottom feeders from buyers out there?
Not yet, because some of the deals that we've got going have been they're fairly new in terms of us bringing them onto the market. There's one exception on one that you and I are working on that's been out there for a while, and that value I think we both hope will hold. The other companies that we've got some values that are pretty solid, and it appears as though we're going to get what we're asking for on behalf of the owner in those deals. So I haven't seen in our world bottom feeders yet.
And what you just said, it sounds like you haven't seen valuations change much.
No, they haven't. I mean, again, if it's a not such a great company that historically might have gotten not a strong valuation, now those probably have gone down. But if it's a good, solid company, those values are holding in terms of what I see.
Okay. Are people doing different deal structures?
Yeah, some are doing different deal structures. We've got one that I've never heard of before, nor has my partner Bob, on a company that we're representing, and it's a European group that's looking at the company, and they're going with an idea of some kind of raising money in bonds to get the deal done. So it's not something we've done before, so that's new. And then we've got some people that are going more for earnouts, I think, rather than some other note kind of structures. So if things go well coming out of the recession and companies can hit certain targets, the selling owner will be rewarded.
Yeah. So in other words, they'll get more than they might have got just based on a fixed price.
They could get more, yeah. They're certainly hoping to get it as much as they would have for the fixed price, and there's a potential in some of these that they could get even more.
Yeah. Okay. So if somebody came to you and you said this isn't ready to go to market, uh, what are what would you think what are the general things that cause you to say that? Is it just being affected by the virus?
Well, yeah, well, that could be one of it. If their market has really dropped, precipitously, and they've gone from 100% of whatever they were averaging down to like 30 or 40%,
Yeah.
they definitely can't go to market. If they're at 60 or 70%, and there's a chance that they're going to bounce back, then we can work on those businesses. The other thing would be if they've lost through this COVID environment, if they've lost any key customers because of that, then they're definitely not going to be able to go to market. And as we both know, there are a lot of these smaller businesses, this lower middle market, that may have a lot of different customers, but they got one, two, or three really key customers, and up to 50% of their revenue. And if any one of those is in trouble through the COVID scenario we've got, then that really makes it difficult to bring to market.
Yeah. And banks have told me, or bankers have told me, they're doing the same kind of look at suppliers, make sure the suppliers are stable.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that makes
a lot
sense.
more scrutiny.
Yep, absolutely, and there should be. And there's a lot of suppliers that turned off the faucet, when when the COVID hit, and other companies have been coming back online, and they can't get supplies from their suppliers now.
Yeah. So, okay. Pete, I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add about what you're seeing out in the marketplace.
I think the only thing I would add is that we're seeing less actual referrals come our way, and we get our share like everybody else does in our world. And some of them are good referrals, and some of them are not so good. They either fit what we do or not, or they're not ready to go to market. But we're just not seeing as many of those come through right now, which tells me there's a lot of folks sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, I'd agree. We for fifth year now have tracked every referral coming in, and it really hit a slump when COVID did. There wasn't any for a while, and now it's bouncing all over, more erratic than it had been.
Right.
But you just hope every referral's a good shot to be able to help somebody.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Pete, thank you. This will be on my YouTube and my web channel and my website, and I appreciate your taking the time. Again, Pete McDowell with RC Advisory Services here in the greater Seattle area. Thanks, Pete.